So it is my second week on psychiatry, and this week I'm on placement every single day. So last night was actually the first time I've slept in this accommodation, and do you know what? The bed was alright. I slept quite well. It was really quiet. The only thing is in the mornings the traffic is quite loud, but the shower is pretty good. No complaints really. I just don't have a very big mirror in here, so that's something I might have to figure out. But overall, a good night's sleep, and I'm right by the bus stop to get to placement, so it's ideal. So it's Tuesday today. I didn't vlog yesterday. I did start the day vlogging, but it became quite a stressful and busy day outside of placement because my dad was discharged from hospital in the evening, so I had to help him and my mum get him back to the house and like just get things ready. So in the end it just wasn't really the best day to be filming. So I did go to placement in the morning, and I met a lovely junior doctor and a trainee, and kind of stuck with the trainee for most of the day. We went to the ward and we met some of the patients. The doctor who was looking after me was so good. She did a lot of teaching. She kind of just said like, what do you want to know, like let's get what you can out of this placement. So that was really good. And then I was going to go to a tribunal. If you are sectioned under the Mental Health Act, you do have a right to appeal it. There was a tribunal in the afternoon, but it got delayed, so I didn't get to go. But I did read a lot of the notes and the statements about the case, so that was quite interesting to read about that. That was my day on placement. I had a really good Monday actually, and I left at about 3. So this morning I'm going in for the ward round. They split the wards into male and female, so today is the female ward round. So before I go, I'm going to read up a little bit on some of the classical antipsychotics, mood stabilizers and antidepressants, just so I'm kind of clued up on the drug names when I'm going on the ward round. This is my outfit of the day. It's a little bit, I'm wearing jeans because basically I went in yesterday and I was wearing a really smart outfit with smart trousers, and the first thing my consultant said to me was like, oh, you look really smart. So I'm gonna take that as you don't actually need to be really smart. So I'm gonna look up some stuff now before I catch the bus to placement.
Going up.
So that day was a bit shorter than I thought it was going to be. I have just come back to the accommodation. Oh, this camera is on its last legs. I've come back to the accommodation and it is almost 12. It's not even 12 yet. Let me tell you about my morning. In the last vlog, I told you I was based on the psychiatric intensive care ward. Mostly what I'm seeing is patients with psychosis, schizophrenia, bipolar and personality disorders, and they are sectioned under the Mental Health Act for different lengths of time. So what I've learned is there's a section 2, which is a 28-day time period, and a section 3, which is 6 months, but you don't have to be in the hospital for the full 6 months. It's just until they, you know, determine that you're better and able to go back into the community. And once the patient is able to go back into the community, they're not just left to their own devices. They have like a care plan and a nurse who goes to see them and stuff. There's a lot that goes into like rehabilitating people who've been sectioned back into the community, is what I'm finding. But to get to the point, it actually ended up being that we only saw 1 patient, because there's only 4 patients on the ward at the moment anyway, for different reasons. There were reasons why we couldn't see them on the ward round, so we only got to see 1 patient who's doing very well, so it was a quick ward round. After that, the trainee doctor who I'm working with a lot this week said I could go. The male ward round is tomorrow, so I'll have another opportunity to go in tomorrow and see some more patients. But we did pop to the other ward, the male ward, and did a few jobs and saw a couple patients and chatted to them. So I did see other patients, but the ward round was very brief. A lot of the staff are women. It's definitely a very women dominated ward in terms of staff there. And on the ward round today we had junior doctor trainee who's training to be a psychiatrist, a nurse, we had a occupational therapist, a assistant psychologist, and then me just kind of following them around. It was a good team of us, all women, girl power. Yeah, it was really interesting just to see their discussions about how medications are working with the patients, their behaviour, how it's changing, and what the latest updates are. There were some family visiting as well, so family are allowed onto the ward to visit. And yeah, it was just, I got more of an insight into the female ward today because I'd spent more time on the male ward my first 2 days. Tomorrow, another attempt at a ward round, and I am going to make the most of the rest of the day by getting started on a case-based discussion. So for this placement, we have to do 6 cases and present 2 of them at the end of the placement, but we could be asked to present any of our 6 cases. So I have to basically put together 6 case studies of patients, all with different psychiatric conditions, and just have an understanding of their history, their personal story, their diagnoses, kind of what happened to them, how they came to be in hospital, that kind of stuff. So I've really got to get to grips with each case. We could also be questioned on lots of different things at the end of our presentations. So we could be asked about stigma, we could be asked about treatments, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to get started on my first case today, because I reckon if I do 1 a week, that should mean by the end of the 8 weeks I will definitely have my 6 ready. So I'm going to get that done today and go through everything. I will probably get most of that done here because I'll have to look at patient notes, and I can't really go work in a cafe and do that, so I've got to be quite careful. We also have these tutorials every Thursday, and each week a couple of us have to practice presenting these case-based discussions, and I volunteered to do the first one this Thursday, so I actually really have to get 1 case done by this Thursday to present. So really I'm quite grateful that I've been sent home early today so I can crack on with getting that done. So that is the plan for the rest of the day. I think today I'm just going to do a lot of reading around bipolar and the treatment, and then tomorrow I'm going to go through the patient's notes and put all that together so that I can present on Thursday. I think there's like 8 of us on this placement, so it's just a small group. Before I do any more work though, it is lunchtime, so I'm going to eat my sandwich. My mum bought me this. One thing my mum loves is a bargain. She got me this sandwich, chorizo, nduja and mozzarella. 50p, 50p. Very good. I'm gonna eat that, and then I'm gonna go meet my friend Jess for a walk for lunch, because we are neighbours and she does shift work, so she's not working today. So we're going to go for a little lunchtime walk. Are you working hard?
I'm working very hard.
Yeah. Do you want to say who you are and what you do?
My name is Liberty. I'm a solar design engineer. I play with solar panels. That's about it.
So what kind of solar panels have you been working with today? Or is it not how it works?
Solar panels are the same.
What does a day in your life look like?
I open up my laptop and I look at solar panels.
Nice. I've actually got a really nice view from my room. If you bend around the corner a little bit, you can see Pool Park, and then behind that is like Pool Harbour, and then in the distance that's Bouncy Island, which you can catch the ferry over to from Pool Quay, where I was with Jess earlier. So, problem with this accommodation is where I am, the sun like beats down on my room all day, so it's quite hot still in this room. It's definitely more bearable than it was last week. Last week I came in this room and I could barely even like stand to be in here, so the fact I'm in here and have a cup of tea shows that the temperature is bearable. Had a lovely lunch break, and now I'm going to do some reading on bipolar. They gave us this textbook for the placement, so I'm going to do some reading in there, and then I'm going to do some video editing before I go to work at the restaurant. Ooh, the restaurant. I'm actually loving being back at my old restaurant. All the chefs are the same, and a lot of them have been working there for a long time, and some of them have actually been working there for 10 years, which is when I joined, so they remember me when I was 16, and it's so cute to like be back there with them, be in a familiar place and not have to like start working somewhere completely new. And it's all like muscle memory. Like, I thought I wouldn't know where everything was or how to do anything, but literally halfway through my first shift I picked it all up again. The customers are very different to the ones that come into my pub in Southampton. It's just a completely different type of service that you kind of have to do. You have to do a lot more talking and recommending things and upselling. You got to be a bit more of a character, I guess, than when you're in the pub. Like, it's a bit more chilled out. People have just come in for some grub and a pint most of the time. So this is a different ball game, but I'm enjoying it. It kind of keeps me busy, and yeah, just wish they'd pay me more. I keep saying I'm going to do some work and I just haven't yet. So my NHS laptop needs to do an update, so I can't even access patient notes right now. I'm gonna have to just do some googling of generic stuff, I think. Do some reading. Human interaction can be good though. If we're there, we should One thing I'm really good at is losing my medical student badge, but today it decided to show up outside my door when I got home, which was quite nice of it to do that. I quickly got my stuff together to head home to Winchester on the train because Thursday was completely online, so I thought I'd go and pay my boyfriend a visit. Look who it is. Look who's back. Did you miss me?
No paps.
No paps, alright. We've come to Next. We're going on a very fun adventure to find a throw for the sofa. I win. Throws! What do you think? I think we'll have to get them out. I don't like that. I don't like how that feels. That looks like something a coat a lady on the Titanic would wear. What about like a chunky knit throw? £100. What about something like this? Reversible throw, £45.
Wait, what's the dimensions?
260 by 260 centimetres.
Oh, that would fit.
It would?
I imagine so, yeah.
Which colour do you like the most? Do you like this teal green?
I don't love the material.
Oh, I don't love them. It's like a duvet cover, don't you think?
Yeah.
My presentation, I think it went quite well. I did have a load of notes next to me, so it was quite easy. I just read off my notes that I prepared, and I think because I went first, I was the first person on placement to have a go in this tutorial at presenting a case. They went a bit easy on me, which was nice, and they weren't too mean with the questions at the end, so I think it went well. I'm just gonna eat my lunch now. I've got avocado bagel with sriracha mayo, which is my current obsession. I'm just waiting for Jack to finish making his lunch so we can watch some TV. In the afternoon, I went to work in Winchester in a cafe and I got some past med done. I'm going to try and do past med little and often this year. That's the plan anyway. I could make an updated exam tips video after my third year exams, but the short answer is past med, ques med and 0 to finals. I haven't used Anki since second year, I believe. I didn't even use it for my resits, and I have no regrets about that. It's just not for me. After a while of studying, I actually got a phone call from my sister, and she had some updates for me about Dad, and it meant I had to stop what I was doing and get back home. I did go for a walk with Jack before my train just to clear my head, and then that evening I went out with my siblings to a pub quiz, of course with Macy, who is always a crowd favourite. I know it might seem a bit strange that we went out to the pub, but it was good for us to go out and talk things through as siblings and give mum and dad some space, because I've realised that when you're a sick person it can be quite intense for like your whole family just to be in the same room as you all the time.
Who's up next?
We're going to win the quiz tonight.
Looking good, it is.
Good afternoon. I've got back from placement and it is now like middle of the afternoon. I went in this morning. I didn't really want to go in. We had some bad news yesterday about my dad, and I know I went to a pub quiz last night, but me and my siblings had planned to do that last night anyway. It was good for us. We did a lot of talking. I went home after and spent some time with mum and dad at home. Yeah, so the news yesterday wasn't anything we weren't maybe expecting. It's really hard because obviously I haven't told you guys everything that's going on. I've told you that my dad's unwell. I've told you that he was in hospital and now he's at home. And he didn't come home from hospital because he's better. He came home from hospital because they did all that they could. They'd got to the point where they weren't actually doing anything for him in hospital that he couldn't get at home, and obviously we'd like him to be at home. So we all came to the same decision that it was time for him to come home from the hospital. And yesterday they had a meeting with the consultant and there were some updates, and like I've just said, it wasn't anything we weren't maybe expecting, but it's always hard to hear. And yeah, we were just dealing with that news last night, and this morning I'm feeling emotionally vulnerable. I'm obviously seeing patients on this placement who are emotionally vulnerable and going through some really difficult mental health illnesses, and most of the time I'm finding placement is a good distraction, and it allows me to like compartmentalize bits of my life, and going to placement is interesting. It's what I enjoy, it's what my dad wants me to do. He doesn't want me to stop my life in my tracks. But some days, you know, on the back of bad news, it's actually quite hard to do everything. And today was one of those days where I just didn't want to be there, and I was finding it really hard. I did what I could. I went in for a bit, but it was difficult today. So I'm gonna spend the rest of the day doing like independent study. I'm going to try and do some past med. I did a bit yesterday, but I got a phone call from my sister like in the middle of doing that, so kind of went out the window. But today I'm going to try and do some revision. I'm going to teach myself a little bit about all the main psychiatric disorders we need to know about, because when I was doing past med yesterday I realised there's a lot I actually don't really know. The last time I did any kind of psychiatry was in second year when we did neuro, and I'm pretty sure we just had a week of lectures on mental health conditions, and so my actual knowledge, other than like what I've seen and what I've experienced in my own life, is quite limited. So I need to do a lot of revision, especially on things like personality disorders, depression, because there's just quite a lot to learn. So today I'm going to just make the most of that. I'm working at the restaurant this evening, and tomorrow I'm going to have a self-care day. I'm also going to pop home in between all of this and see mum and dad, make sure they're all right, check in. Life feels very grown up all of a sudden. That's all I can say. It's just changed a lot. So I'm going to put some comfy clothes on and we're going to go work in a cafe because this room is hot, really hot. I've managed to keep it pretty clean, but it's definitely getting messy. As you can see, I've got my YouTube makeup set up there from this morning. Yeah, the room is nice. The bed could be comfier, but other than that, it's fine. So I wandered into town to get some more work done and go over things from placement that week, but not before realising they turned our local Waterstones into a 2-storey Greggs, which made me quite sad, but I did also get myself a sausage, bean and cheese bake. I did as much work as I could so a bit more past med and going over some conditions. But to be honest, I was finding my concentration was really bad at this point. Looking back at this time, I was experiencing what I know now was anticipatory grief and coming to terms with the fact that my dad was dying, while still trying to remain hopeful and positive, because we were never really given a prognosis. So at this point, I didn't really have an idea of how little time we had left, and this was actually the last time I picked up a vlogging camera before he passed away. It was such a scary and uncertain time for all of us. And if I wasn't doing placement in my hometown, I genuinely don't think I would have been able to continue with fourth year, because at this point things really changed and the scales tipped in favour of me being at home with dad. And it just so happened that I could still go to placement while being in pool. Yeah, so this was the last time I picked up a camera, and I guess I'll say thanks for watching this vlog. My next upload will be a more up-to-date one. I'll just leave you guys with a reminder to tell your parents you love them and don't take anything or any day for granted. See you guys soon. Bye.